First of all, start off with we just got off the phone with all the premiers, and there's a clear consensus that everyone agrees that we need a bilateral trade deal with the U.S. and a separate bilateral trade deal with Mexico. We've asked for a meeting. We will be asking for a meeting with the Prime Minister and his representatives to make sure that we're all on side. Another great consensus is it's all about Team Canada. We're going to take that approach, and we're going to sit down and have a great strategy moving forward. And it was nice to get all the premiers together for the first time, and congratulated Premier Holt and Premier Moe and Premier Eby for the election wins.
So Premier, are you saying that the other dozen premiers have bought into the proposal that you raised last week about Canada doing a bilateral with the United States, excluding Mexico?
Yes, that's correct, Rob. They feel, that's our number one trading partner, our closest ally, our closest friend. What our problem is all the premiers. We know Mexico is bringing in cheap Chinese parts, slapping made in Mexico stickers on, shipping it up through the U.S. and Canada, causing American jobs to be lost and Canadian jobs. We want fair trade. I'll give you an example. In just Ontario alone, we do $40 billion of two-way trade with Mexico. We import $36.5 billion. We only export $3.5 billion. That's not fair trade. Compared to the U.S., we do approximately close to $500 billion, and it's almost split right down the center, give or take a couple $billion. The other area that there was a consensus on, making sure the federal government hits their 2% target of GDP for NATO. That's very important. I want to thank Premier Canoe, for his idea, and that came at our last meeting. We're going to have all the premiers up here on December the 15th and 16th for a short, quick meeting regarding our U.S. Trade concerns. And we've also invited a few of the governors up. I'm not too sure if any will show up because they're in transition right now. We plan on heading down there as Team Canada sometime in February, in and about that area, maybe March, as everyone comes back to Washington. And there's a governor's meeting as well in February, if I'm not mistaken. We'd love to be down there at the governor's meeting.
Have you talked to the federal government about this push? Have you talked to the
Yeah, I did. I had a call with the Prime Minister right after I sent my statement out. He's very supportive, and I had an opportunity to meet Minister Champagne as well, and we'll reach out to Minister Freeland and the rest of the team. So we have a good relationship, all of us. There's most important thing with all the premiers, we put all political stripes aside. We're speaking as Team Canada, and we feel the same way with the federal government. We're going to be there and take that Team Canada approach.
So is this the end of free trade in North America?
I wouldn't say it's the end of free trade. I'd never recommend that. I just feel that we need to work with our number one trading partner. Every single province and territory, 80% of their trade is with the U.S., and I thought it was a fair deal last time, and we look forward to sitting down and talking to the representatives down in the U.S. and making sure that we're all on the same page, the federal government and all the provinces and territories.
What did separate bilaterals accomplish? If you're going to have a separate bilateral with Mexico and one with the U.S., why not just have all three? What difference would it make having the two?
Well, I just think right now Mexico is not playing fair. They're playing nice in the sandbox, per se, when they're importing Chinese-made products at a much lower cost, costing U.S. and Canadian jobs. That's not fair trade. We'd like to do a straight bilateral trade deal with the U.S., number one trading partner, number one ally, number one friend, and we have to make sure that we all work collectively and collaboratively together. And then we'll have another one with Mexico. So that's what the consensus
Are
is.
you trying to snap Mexico back into line with this? Like, is part of this an attempt to snap Mexico back in the line, or have you basically given up on, and the Premier's given up on Mexico on this front, and you're just ready to move on?
Well, I just want them to play fair, play by the rules. We have no problem. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of Mexicans coming up here working in the agricultural sector, and we appreciate it. It's nothing against the people of Mexico whatsoever, but they have to play fair. And the U.S., again, is our number one trading partner in the world, closest ally, and we're there to work with them. I look at it, and the rest of the premiers, here's an opportunity to continue on a great relationship that we have with our colleagues south of the border.
Premier, where do you feel about
I'm sorry.
You mentioned the Prime Minister was supportive. Were you saying he's supportive of this idea of having two bilateral trade deals instead of like a new NAFTA?
No, he's just supportive as his Team Canada, and that's the approach that we want to work with the Prime Minister and their representatives at the table to make sure we're all on the same page. And he just reached out to have a conversation about that, so I appreciate that.
What about Canadian?
Yeah, I saw something from the President of Mexico. I guess she wasn't too happy with my comments, but again, we have no problem with Mexico or the Mexican people. We just want to have fair trade. She knows what's going on. She's a smart person.
What about Canadian companies, though, auto parts companies that have invested a lot of money in Mexico? What do you say to them? They're going to be concerned.
Well, I've talked to quite a few of them already. They're really supportive of our statement about making sure that they have a free trade and fair trade with the U.S. and Canada. I know they manufacture some parts down there, but again, they're concerned too when Mexico is bringing in some of those same parts, from China, sticking a "Made in Mexico" sticker on and shipping them up. So it really hurts their companies in the long run.
But without a new NAFTA, aren't those investments stranded? Aren't those dead in the water?
Well, again, if they aren't playing fair and they're pretending that it's made in Mexico and it really isn't made in Mexico, they're made in China at a fraction of the cost, and putting the old "Made in Mexico" sticker on, it's unacceptable. But I think we're going to continue working closely with our U.S. counterparts, and we'll have a good conversation with.
This will be the last question.
2017-18, we had trouble with transshipment of Canadian steel and aluminum. Have you heard anything from the Americans that they're concerned about transshipment through Canada as well, or is that settled?
No, that lasted not too long. I remember they slapped those tariffs on the steel and aluminum, and as we retaliated, we don't want to retaliate, but if they do it, we have no choice. But I think that only lasted, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 weeks.
One last question to us.
They wrote to a letter asking for the cost to remove bike lanes. And have you talked to the mayor about her big concerns about you usurping council's purview here?
Yeah, well, I still have a great relationship with the mayor. I respect the mayor, and the cost, we're going to disagree. We aren't redoing these with, paved with gold. That number's way out to lunch. But we're going to work collaboratively together. Two things I want to speak about that. I want to make sure people are safe on bikes. I also want to make sure that cars can get through the city. Right now, and I think you've all heard it through your friends or family that live, maybe in the suburbs or wherever, they avoid downtown Toronto like the plague right now. Everyone knows it takes maybe an hour and a half in some cases to get from Etobicoke down here or Scarborough or wherever. We just want to move forward with it. We want to make sure everyone's safe on the roads and riding their bikes, I should say, and get traffic moving.
Did you
Thank you. That was the last question.
About that,
I'm sorry.
You're getting ready to expropriate land from 413. Are you concerned about how much you're going to have to pay land speculators and developers?
No, that's really up to Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure. They'll deal with that, and I know one thing: we need to build highways, the 413, the Bradford bypass, and we have to get traffic moving. We have one of the most congested Toronto and the GTA in the world right now, and the 401 is the most congested highway in North America. We have to get goods moving. I know the 401 is costing our economy $11 billion each and every single year, and that's through the Toronto Board of Trade. So we just have to get things moving. We're growing, folks, at such a rapid pace. We've seen such massive economic growth over the last number of years. We've seen close to about $70 billion of investments here in Ontario, and it's the people they're investing in. And we've created the climate and the conditions for companies to come here and invest into the people of Ontario. And we have the greatest, the brightest people anywhere in the world. I've heard it over and over again. I was meeting with a lot of companies yesterday. They were saying the same thing. We're investing because you have the talent. You have 70,000 STEM graduates graduating every single year. We live in the greatest jurisdiction anywhere in the world. But I just want to thank everyone. I'm still waiting for Colin DeMello's birthday gift. Hopefully I'll get it eventually.
Don't look a day over 60.
Could you give me one since it's tomorrow? Have you settled on a date for the election?
And I thought you'd give me a bye today. You've been so well behaved today. But you can come over. I got some cannolis, and we can smash down a couple of cannolis together. I can probably eat you 3 to 1.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you.